Welcome back. Tonight, we leave behind the busy villages and towering castles of medieval Europe. Instead, we journey to a quiet monastery nestled among rolling green hills. Here, life moves slowly. There are no crowded marketplaces, no battles, no noisy celebrations, only the gentle ringing of church bells, the whisper of the wind through ancient stone archways, and the peaceful rhythm of a simple life devoted to prayer, learning, and quiet work. As always, make yourself comfortable. Dim the lights if you can. Close your eyes whenever you feel ready. Take a slow, deep breath and allow yourself to drift back more than 700 years. The sun has not yet risen. The monastery still sleeps. Only the stars watch silently over the stone buildings. Tonight, we will spend an entire day living alongside a medieval monk, from the first bell before dawn to the peaceful silence of night. So relax, slow your breathing, and let the quiet begin. Chapter 1. Before dawn at the monastery, the world is still asleep. Darkness blankets the countryside. The moon hangs high above the monastery walls, casting a silver glow across the ancient stone buildings. Everything is quiet. The monastery rests peacefully atop a gentle hill, surrounded by fields, forests, and small streams. Its thick stone walls have stood here for generations. They have witnessed changing seasons, harsh winters, warm summers, and countless peaceful mornings just like this one. Tonight is no different. A cool breeze moves softly through the monastery gardens. The leaves of old oak trees rustle gently. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls from the forest. Its lonely voice drifts across the valley before disappearing once again into silence. Inside the monastery, long stone corridors remain dark. Only a few candles continue burning through the night. Their tiny flames flicker gently beside religious paintings and wooden doors. The light dances across the stone walls, creating moving shadows that seem almost alive. The monks are still asleep. Each rests in a small, simple room. Their beds are made from rough wooden frames covered with straw mattresses. A wool blanket provides warmth against the cool night air. The rooms contain very little. A wooden chair, a small table, a simple cross hanging upon the wall. Nothing more, nothing unnecessary. Life here is built upon simplicity. Material possessions hold little importance. Peace comes not from owning many things, but from needing very little. Outside, the monastery courtyard remains empty. The stone pathways glisten slightly beneath the moonlight. A small fountain trickles quietly near the center of the garden. Its gentle sound fills the silence. Beyond the walls, rolling fields stretch toward the horizon. The crops sleep beneath the stars. Small villages rest quietly in the distance. No smoke rises from chimneys. No wagons travel the roads. The entire countryside seems wrapped in a blanket of peaceful stillness. High above, the stars shine brilliantly. Without city lights, the heavens appear endless. Thousands of stars sparkle across the dark sky. The same stars these monks have admired every clear night. The same stars that travelers follow across distant lands. The same stars that have watched over humanity for countless generations. A soft wind passes through the monastery cloister. The stone arches create quiet echoes as the breeze moves gently between the columns. It carries the fresh scent of damp earth, wild grass, and distant pine trees. The monastery feels wonderfully calm, wonderfully timeless. Far below the hill, a narrow stream continues its endless journey. Its water flows quietly over smooth stones. The sound is soft, steady, almost hypnotic. Nature itself seems to be whispering, inviting the world to remain asleep just a little longer. Inside one small room, a monk slowly opens his eyes. There is no alarm clock, no hurried rush. Years of routine have taught his body exactly when to awaken. He sits quietly on the edge of his bed. For several moments, he simply listens. The silence, the wind, the distant stream, the peaceful breathing of the monastery itself. Soon, the first bell will ring. Soon, another day devoted to prayer, study, and humble work will begin. But not yet. For now, these final moments before dawn belong to stillness, to quiet reflection, to peace. The monk folds his hands gently. He offers a silent prayer of gratitude for the coming day. No words are spoken aloud. Only quiet thoughts. Only gentle hope. Outside, the eastern horizon begins to change. The darkness softens ever so slightly. A faint line of pale blue appears above the distant hills. Morning is approaching. Slowly, patiently, the stars begin to fade one by one. Birds stir among the trees. The monastery remains silent for just a little while longer. Soon, the bell tower will awaken every soul within these ancient stone walls. Soon, footsteps will echo through the corridors. Candles will be lit. Voices will rise together in prayer. But for this brief moment, the monastery belongs only to silence, to moonlight, to the whisper of the wind, and to the quiet promise of another peaceful day. Chapter 2. The Morning Bell. The first light of dawn has not yet reached the monastery. The sky remains a deep shade of blue, balanced delicately between night and morning. The stars still linger above the quiet countryside. Only the brightest remain visible now. The rest slowly fade as a new day patiently approaches. The monastery is wrapped in silence. Its ancient stone walls seem to breathe peacefully in the cool morning air. Nothing feels hurried. Nothing feels loud. Everything waits quietly for the beginning of another ordinary day. Then, from the highest tower, a single bell begins to ring. Its deep voice rolls gently across the sleeping valley. One slow note, then another, and another. The sound is rich and comforting. Not sharp, not alarming. Simply steady. A familiar invitation to wake. The bell echoes across fields covered with morning mist. It drifts over quiet forests. It reaches nearby farms where a few early workers pause for a moment, listening to the peaceful sound. For centuries, this same bell has marked the beginning of countless mornings. Generation after generation has awakened to its gentle rhythm. Inside the monastery, wooden doors begin opening one by one. The monks quietly leave their small rooms. No one speaks. There is no need. Silence is an important part of life here. Each monk understands the routine without being reminded. They move slowly through the narrow stone corridors. Their simple brown robes brush softly against the floor. Leather sandals make only the quietest sound upon the worn stone. The corridor is lit by a few flickering candles. Their warm light reflects gently from the ancient walls. The monastery feels peaceful in these early moments. A young novice walks carefully beside an older monk. The older man has lived here for many decades. His movements are slow and calm. His face carries a quiet confidence that comes from a lifetime of simple routines. The younger monk watches carefully, not because he has been instructed to, but because wisdom often reveals itself through quiet example. The older monk pauses beside a narrow window. Outside, the eastern sky grows a little brighter. Soft shades of pale blue begin replacing the darkness. The outline of distant hills slowly appears. Morning is arriving. Patiently, gracefully, the bell continues ringing. Its sound fills every corner of the monastery, the library, the kitchens, the gardens, the cloister. Even the small workshops seem to awaken beneath its gentle call. Far below the monastery hill, birds begin their own morning chorus. A robin sings from an old oak tree. Sparrows flutter between branches. A pair of doves quietly settles upon the monastery roof. Nature itself seems to answer the bell. The monks continue walking through the long stone hallway. Some carry small candles. Others simply fold their hands inside their robes. Each face remains peaceful. There is no sign of worry, no sign of hurry. The day begins not with urgency, but with gratitude. As they enter the central cloister, cool morning air greets them. Stone arches surround a quiet garden at its center. A small fountain flows gently. Its water catches the first faint light of dawn. Tiny ripples spread slowly across its surface. The sound blends beautifully with the distant bell. Water, wind, stone, bell. Together, they create a peaceful harmony. One by one, the monks cross the cloister. Their robes move softly with every step. No conversation interrupts the silence. Each person is quietly preparing both mind and heart for the first prayers of the day. Above them, the monastery tower stands proudly against the brightening sky. The bell rope moves steadily. Hidden high above, another monk continues pulling it with calm precision. He knows exactly how long each pause should last, exactly how many notes should sound. The rhythm has remained unchanged for generations. Outside the monastery walls, the world slowly awakens. A farmer lights the first lantern inside his barn. A shepherd opens a gate for his sheep. Smoke begins rising from a distant cottage chimney. The valley slowly fills with signs of life. Yet the monastery remains wonderfully quiet. Here, the day begins differently. Not with busy work, not with loud voices, but with stillness, with reflection, with purpose. The monks gather outside the chapel doors. No one rushes inside. Each waits patiently. The wooden doors remain closed for just another moment. The silence feels comforting, almost sacred. A cool breeze passes through the courtyard. It carries a scent of damp grass and fresh earth. The nearby herb garden releases a gentle fragrance of rosemary, lavender, and mint. The air feels clean, refreshing, peaceful. One novice looks upward. The final stars disappear into the growing light. Soon the sun will rise beyond the eastern hills. Golden light will warm the stone walls. The gardens will sparkle with morning dew. Another beautiful day is about to begin. The monastery bell rings for the final time. Its last note lingers softly across the valley. Then silence returns. Not an empty silence, a welcoming silence. A silence filled with quiet expectation. The large wooden chapel doors slowly open. Warm candlelight glows from within. The monks bow their heads gently. One by one, they step inside. The first prayers of the day are about to begin. And as the morning sun prepares to rise over the peaceful monastery, another timeless day quietly unfolds beneath the ancient stone walls. Chapter 3, Silent Morning Prayer. The heavy wooden doors of the monastery chapel close gently behind you. The outside world fades away. The morning breeze, the singing birds, the distant countryside, all become quiet memories beyond the thick stone walls. Inside the chapel, a peaceful silence welcomes everyone. Only the soft glow of candles illuminates the ancient room. Their small flames flicker gently beside the stone altar. Warm golden light dances across the walls. The chapel feels timeless, as though nothing has changed here for hundreds of years. The monks enter quietly, one by one. Each find a familiar place among the long wooden benches. No one speaks. No one needs to. Silence itself has become a language within these walls. A language of patience, a language of peace. The air inside the chapel is cool and still. It carries the faint scent of beeswax candles and polished wood. Somewhere high above, wooden beams disappear into the shadows of the ceiling. The architecture draws your eyes upward, toward the quiet beauty of the stone arches, toward the gentle morning light, beginning to appear through the stained glass windows. Outside, the first rays of the rising sun slowly touch the colored glass. Soft shades of blue, deep crimson, golden amber, emerald green. The sunlight filters through them, painting beautiful patterns across the stone floor. The colors move almost imperceptibly, minute by minute, as the morning continues. The abbot quietly walks toward the front of the chapel. His movements are slow, graceful, calm. Years of simple living have shaped every step he takes. There is no hurry, no unnecessary movement, only quiet purpose. The monks lower their heads. Their hands rest gently together. Eyes close, breathing slows. The chapel grows even quieter. For a few peaceful moments, no sound can be heard except the gentle crackle of candle flames. Then the first prayer begins. Not loudly, not dramatically, only a soft voice. Steady, gentle. The ancient words rise slowly through the chapel, like a calm stream flowing over smooth stones. Each sentence is spoken with care. Each pause is allowed its own moment. The rhythm feels soothing. The monks respond together. Their voices blend into one peaceful harmony. No single voice stands above another. Together, they sound like the quiet breathing of the monastery itself. The chants fill the chapel. Soft echoes drift beneath the stone ceiling. The ancient walls seem to carry every note gently through the room. The sound is comforting, steady, almost hypnotic. Outside, morning continues unfolding. The sun climbs a little higher. Birds sing among the monastery gardens, dew sparkles upon the grass. Yet inside the chapel, time seems to move differently, more slowly, more gently. One candle burns lower than the others. A tiny drop of melted wax slides quietly down its side. The flame continues dancing peacefully. Its light never wavers. A young novice kneels quietly beside an older monk. This is still a new life for him. Only a few months ago, he lived in a busy village. Now, each day begins with silence instead of noise, with prayer instead of conversation, with stillness instead of hurry. At first, the quiet had seemed unfamiliar, perhaps even difficult. But little by little, he has begun to understand. Silence is not empty. It is full of small things that are often forgotten. The sound of breathing, the flicker of candlelight, the movement of sunlight across stone, the quiet beating of one's own heart. The monastery teaches people how to notice these gentle moments. The prayers continue. Each chant rises and falls like gentle waves upon a peaceful sea. The rhythm never rushes, never slows. It remains beautifully balanced. A swallow lands briefly upon the chapel window outside. Its tiny shadow crosses the colored glass. Then it flies away again into the bright morning sky. The colorful light inside shifts slightly. Blue becomes gold. Red becomes orange. The chapel seems almost alive with moving colors. The monks remain completely still. Their robes fall in soft fold around them. Some have spent 40 years within these walls. Others have spent only 4. Yet all share the same peaceful routine. Morning after morning, season after season, year after year, the prayers finally begin drawing toward their conclusion. The final chant echoes softly beneath the vaulted ceiling, then fades gently into silence. No one immediately stands. No one feels the need to hurry away. Instead, everyone remains seated for a few quiet moments, simply breathing, simply listening, simply allowing the peace of the morning to settle deeply within them. Outside, the monastery bell no longer rings. The birds continue singing in the gardens. The gentle breeze moves through the cloister. The world beyond the monastery has fully awakened. Soon the monks will begin their daily work. Some will tend the gardens. Some will copy ancient manuscripts. Some will prepare food. Others will welcome travelers seeking rest. Every task will be performed with the same calm attention they have given to prayer, because within the monastery, work itself becomes another form of quiet devotion. The abbot slowly rises. The others follow, one by one, without words, without haste. The wooden benches creak softly as they stand. The chapel doors are open once again. Fresh morning air flows gently inside. Sunlight now fills the entrance. A new day has truly begun. The monks step quietly into the bright courtyard. The silence remains with them, not because they are forbidden to speak, but because they have learned something rare. They have learned that peace often begins where noise ends. And as the warm morning sunlight spreads across the ancient monastery walls, another beautiful day of quiet simplicity gently unfolds. Chapter 4. A simple monastic breakfast. As the morning prayers come to a peaceful close, the monks quietly leave the chapel. The heavy wooden doors open once again. Fresh morning air drifts gently inside. The golden light of the rising sun now fills the monastery courtyard. The stone pathways sparkle with tiny drops of morning dew. Birds sing cheerfully from branches of ancient oak trees. The monastery feels awake, yet it remains wonderfully quiet. The monks walk slowly through the cloister. Their brown robes sway gently with each step. No one rushes. No one speaks loudly. Most remain silent, carrying the peace of the morning prayers with them. The sound of leather sandals upon smooth stone echoes softly beneath the graceful arches. The cloister has always been a place of calm. Its covered walkways protect the monks from rain and winter winds. At the center lies a small garden. Lavender flowers sway gently in the breeze. Rosemary and sage release their pleasant fragrance into the cool morning air. A small stone fountain quietly bubbles at its center. The sound of flowing water follows the monks as they continue toward the dining hall. Soon they reach a large wooden door. It opens slowly. Beyond it lies the monastery's refectory. The dining hall is simple. Unlike the grand halls of castles, There are no colorful banners hanging from the walls, no elaborate decorations, no luxurious furniture, only long wooden tables, simple benches, stone walls, large windows allowing the morning sunlight to enter. The room feels peaceful. Everything has been designed for usefulness rather than beauty. Yet there is beauty in such simplicity. Sunlight pours through the windows. Its warm golden rays stretch across the wooden floor. Tiny dust particles drift lazily through the light. The room seems almost aglow. One by one, the monks quietly take their seats. Each person knows exactly where to sit. No instructions are needed. Years of routine have made every movement natural. Some monks bow their heads for a brief moment of gratitude. Others simply close their eyes quietly. The meal has not yet begun. At the front of the hall stands the abbot. He offers a short blessing. His voice is calm, gentle, filled with kindness. When the blessing ends, silence returns once again. Breakfast is simple, very simple. Freshly baked bread rests in woven baskets along the tables. Small pieces of cheese are carefully arranged upon wooden plates. A bowl of warm porridge gives off gentle steam. Clay cups hold cool spring water. Sometimes, during the warmer months, there may be fresh apples or pears gathered from the monastery orchard. Everything is modest. Everything is enough. The monks eat slowly. There is no hurry. Every bite is taken with gratitude. The bread is dense and hearty. The cheese is fresh. The porridge is warm and comforting. Simple food prepared with care. For the monks, meals are not only about filling the stomach. They are also moments of quiet reflection. A young novice carefully tears a small piece of bread. He watches the older monks around him. They chew slowly. They remain calm. Even something as ordinary as breakfast becomes peaceful through mindful attention. Near one wall of the dining hall stands a wooden lectern. Today, one monk quietly reads from an ancient book while everyone else eats. His voice is soft, steady, never hurried. The words drift gently through the room. Most monks continue eating without speaking. They listen while they eat. This tradition has existed for many generations. It reminds everyone that both the body and the mind deserve nourishment. Outside the windows, the monastery gardens continue waking beneath the morning sun. Butterflies flutter among the flowers. Bees move quietly from blossom to blossom. The fountain sparkles in the golden light. Occasionally, a robin lands upon the windowsill, tilting its tiny head as if listening to the gentle reading inside. The atmosphere remains wonderfully peaceful. A cool breeze enters through one open window. It carries a scent of fresh herbs and damp earth. The fragrance mixes with the smell of warm bread. The combination feels comforting, homely, timeless. An elderly monk slowly pours water into a clay cup. The sound is soft, gentle, almost musical. Across the table, another monk offers a basket of bread to the novice beside him. The gesture is simple, kind. No words are exchanged. None are necessary. Kindness often speaks most clearly through quiet actions. The reading continues. The steady voice blends beautifully with the sounds of the dining hall, the soft movement of wooden bowls, the occasional creak of benches, the gentle song of birds outside. Nothing interrupts the peaceful rhythm. Nothing disturbs the calm. The meal gradually comes to an end. The last pieces of bread are shared. The clay cups become empty. The bowls are quietly collected by a few younger monks. Everyone helps. No task belongs to only one person. The monastery is built upon shared responsibility. Small acts of service become part of everyday life. Before leaving the dining hall, each monk pauses briefly, offering silent thanks once more. Not because the meal was grand, but because it was sufficient, because it was shared, because another peaceful day has begun. The monks stand together. The benches slide softly across the floor. Sunlight now fills the entire hall. The warmth of the morning has fully arrived. Outside, the monastery waits. Gardens need tending. Books need copying. Visitors may arrive seeking guidance. The work of the day is ready to begin. The heavy wooden doors open once again. The monks step quietly into the bright courtyard. The peaceful silence remains with them. The morning meal has nourished both body and spirit. And beneath the clear blue sky, surrounded by ancient stone walls and singing birds, another beautiful chapter of monastic life gently unfolds. Chapter 5. Working in the monastery garden. The morning meal has come to a peaceful end. The dining hall grows quiet once again. Wooden bowls have been carefully washed. The long tables stand empty. The last rays of early morning sunlight stream through the tall windows. Outside, a gentle breeze carries the fresh scent of flowers and damp earth across the monastery grounds. The monks quietly leave the refectory. Each knows the work that awaits. Some will tend the orchards. Some will prepare meals. Others will welcome travelers or care for the library. Today, your task lies in one of the most peaceful places within the monastery, the garden. You walk slowly through the stone cloister. The sound of your sandals echoes softly beneath the graceful arches. Sunlight spills across the worn stone floor. The fountain at the center of the courtyard continues its gentle song. Its clear water flows steadily into a small basin. The sound is calm, steady, comforting. Beyond the cloister, the monastery garden stretches across a gentle hillside. It is not large, nor is it designed simply to be beautiful. Every corner serves a purpose. Every plant has its place. Rows of vegetables grow neatly in rich, dark soil. Carrots, onions, cabbages, beans. Fresh herbs fill another section of the garden. Rosemary, sage, thyme, mint. Their pleasant fragrance rises into the cool morning air. The scent feels refreshing, almost soothing. You kneel beside one of the garden beds. The soil is soft beneath your hands. It still holds the coolness of the night. Tiny drops of dew cling to the leaves of young plants. As the sunlight grows warmer, the droplets sparkle like tiny crystals. The monastery gardener, an elderly monk with silver hair and kind eyes, works quietly nearby. He has cared for these gardens for many years, perhaps even decades. He understands every season, every flower, every tree. He moves slowly, patiently, never rushing. For him, gardening is more than work. It is a form of prayer, a quiet conversation with nature. You begin removing small weeds growing between the vegetables. One by one, slowly, carefully, you take care not to disturb the growing plants. The work is repetitive, yet deeply calming. Your hands move gently through the earth. The soft scent of fresh soil rises around you. Somewhere above, a blackbird sings from the branch of an apple tree. Its cheerful melody drifts across the garden. Soon another bird answers from the far side of the orchard. The peaceful chorus continues. Bees buzz lazily from flower to flower. Butterflies drift through the warm air. Everything moves at its own natural pace. Nothing feels hurried. Nothing feels forced. The monastery teaches that even simple work deserves full attention. Every weed removed, every seed planted, every plant watered. Each small task matters. As the hours pass, the sun climbs higher into the clear blue sky. The warmth grows more pleasant. Not too hot, just enough to make the garden feel welcoming. Nearby, several novice monks carry wooden watering cans from the stone well. They walk carefully between the flower beds. Each pours cool water around the roots of young plants. The water disappears quietly into the thirsty earth. Tiny streams flow gently through narrow channels between the rows. The sound is soft, almost musical. You pause for a moment beside a patch of lavender. The purple flowers sway gently in the breeze. Their sweet fragrance fills the air. Closing your eyes, you breathe deeply. The scent calms your mind. The breeze cools your face. The birds continue singing above. It is easy to understand why so many monks find peace in this garden. Not far away stands a small orchard. Apple trees stretch their branches toward the morning sun. Their leaves rustle softly whenever the breeze passes through. A few green apples hang quietly among the branches. They are not yet ready for harvest, but their slow growth reminds everyone that good things require patience. The elderly gardener smiles as he watches the orchard. He knows there is no way to hurry the seasons. Spring becomes summer. Summer becomes autumn. Autumn becomes winter. Each arrives in its proper time. Life itself follows the same gentle rhythm. You continue working beside the vegetables. Your hands become lightly covered with earth. The scent of rosemary drifts once again through the air. Somewhere nearby, a fountain continues flowing. The gentle splash of water blends beautifully with the sounds of nature. The monastery walls stand quietly around the garden, strong, ancient, protective. Yet inside these walls, nature flourishes. Flowers bloom, trees grow, birds nest, bees gather nectar. Life quietly unfolds day after day. As the morning continues, sunlight begins illuminating every corner of the garden. Bright colors appear everywhere. Deep green leaves, golden flowers, purple lavender, red poppies dancing gently in the breeze. The garden seems alive with quiet beauty. A young novice kneels beside you. Together, you plant a new row of herbs. Each small seed disappears beneath the rich soil. One day, these tiny seeds will become fragrant plants used in the monastery kitchen and infirmary. The future begins with simple actions, with careful hands, with patient hearts. When the work is finished, you slowly stand. Looking across the garden, you see rows of healthy vegetables, fresh herbs swaying gently, fruit trees standing proudly beneath the morning sky. The air remains peaceful. The silence remains comforting. The work has been simple, yet deeply satisfying. The monastery bell rings softly in the distance. Its gentle sound drifts across the gardens once more. It reminds the monks that another part of the day is about to begin. Soon, some will return to study. Others will copy ancient books. Some will prepare the midday meal. Life continues in its quiet rhythm. You take one final look at the beautiful garden. The butterflies still dance among the flowers. The bees continue their patient work. The fountain continues flowing. And beneath the warm sunlight, surrounded by nature's quiet beauty, you carry with you a deep feeling of peace. The garden has offered more than vegetables and flowers. It has offered stillness. It has offered gratitude. It has offered a gentle reminder that the simplest moments are often the most beautiful. With a calm heart, you leave the garden behind and walk slowly toward the next peaceful chapter of monastic life. Chapter 6. Copying Ancient Manuscripts. The gentle ringing of the monastery bell slowly fades into the distance. The peaceful work in the gardens has come to an end for now. The vegetables have been watered. The herbs have been carefully tended. The flowers continue to sway softly beneath the warm morning breeze. With calm and steady steps, you leave the garden behind. Ahead stands one of the quietest places in the entire monastery, the scriptorium. It is here that the monks preserved knowledge for future generations. Long before printing presses existed, every book was copied by hand. Every page required patience. Every letter demanded careful attention. You walk through a cool stone corridor. Sunlight enters through narrow windows carved deep into the monastery walls. Soft beams of golden light stretch across the floor. Dust floats lazily through the air. The silence feels comforting. Soon, you reach a heavy oak door. It opens with a gentle creak. Inside, the scriptorium welcomes you with peaceful stillness. The room is spacious but simple. Long wooden desks stand beside tall windows. Each desk is carefully arranged. Sheets of parchment, small glass bottles of ink, feather quills, knives for sharpening pens, wooden rulers. Everything has its proper place. Nothing is unnecessary. Nothing distracts from the work. Several monks are already seated. Each bends quietly over a manuscript. Their movements are slow, careful, deliberate. Only the soft scratching of quills upon parchment breaks the silence. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause. The sound repeats again and again. Gentle, rhythmic, almost like soft rainfall. It is one of the most peaceful sounds within the monastery. You take your place beside a large wooden desk near the window. Morning sunlight falls gently across the parchment before you. The page is blank, bright, waiting patiently. Nearby rests an ancient manuscript. Its leather cover shows the marks of many years. The edges of its pages have softened with age. Generations of monks have protected this precious book. Now it is your turn to help preserve its words. You dip the feather quill into a small bottle of black ink. Only a little, just enough. Too much ink would stain the page. Too little would leave the writing faint. The work requires balance. The first letter appears upon the parchment. Slowly, carefully, every stroke is deliberate. Every curve receives your full attention. There is no rushing, no shortcuts, only patience, only care. Outside the window, the monastery gardens glow beneath the late morning sun. Birds move between the apple trees. Butterflies drift among the lavender. The fountain continues its quiet song. Its gentle sound reaches the scriptorium through the open window, blending beautifully with the scratching of quills. A cool breeze enters the room. It gently stirs the loose pages upon a nearby desk. The parchment rustles softly, then grows, still once more. One elderly monk works quietly across the room. His hair has turned completely white. His hands bear the marks of many years spent copying books. Yet they remain wonderfully steady, letter after letter, page after page, book after book. He has devoted much of his life to preserving knowledge. Perhaps the very manuscript he copies today will still exist hundreds of years from now. Perhaps someone far in the future will one day read these same words. It is a quiet form of service, invisible to most people, yet deeply important. A young novice watches carefully from beside the master scribe. Today, he is learning how to prepare fresh ink. He gently grinds small pieces of charcoal with oak gall and water. The process is slow, methodical. The finished ink appears smooth and dark, perfect for writing. Nearby, another monk carefully sharpens a goose feather into a fine quill. A small knife removes tiny slivers from the tip. Each movement is precise. Years of experience guide his hands. Nothing is wasted. Even a simple feather deserves careful attention. Sunlight slowly moves across the wooden floor. The hours pass quietly. No one notices the time. No clock hangs upon the wall. Only the movement of the sun marks the passing of the day. The monastery itself seems to breathe slowly, peacefully. Outside, clouds drift lazily across the blue sky. Their shadows move gently over the monastery gardens, then disappear, returning everything to warm sunlight once again. Your own manuscript slowly grows. One page becomes two. Two become three. Every letter joins the next, line after line, paragraph after paragraph. The work feels almost meditative. Your breathing slows naturally. Your thoughts become quieter. There is room only for the next word, the next letter, the next careful stroke of the quill. Occasionally, a monk pauses to stretch his fingers. Another quietly refills his ink bottle. No conversation is needed. Everyone understands the peaceful rhythm of the room. The scratching of quills continues. Soft, steady, comforting. It becomes the heartbeat of the scriptorium. At the far end of the room, several completed manuscripts rest upon wooden shelves. Beautiful leather bindings protect their pages. Some contain religious writings. Others preserve history. Some record the wisdom of ancient philosophers. Together, they form one of the monastery's greatest treasures. Knowledge carefully protected through generations of patient work. The air carries a gentle scent of parchment, wood, and fresh ink. It is a quiet fragrance, one that belongs only to places filled with books. The monastery values silence, but silence here is never empty. It is filled with purpose, filled with concentration, filled with gentle dedication. Outside, the monastery bell rings softly once again. Its peaceful tone drifts through the open window. The monks slowly lift their eyes from their work. The morning has passed. Midday is approaching. Soon it will be time to leave the scriptorium. Time for a simple meal. Time for quiet rest. You carefully place the feather quill beside the ink bottle. The fresh page lies complete before you. The ancient words have found new life once again. You gently close the manuscript. Sunlight still fills the room. The birds continue singing outside. The fountain continues flowing. The scriptorium remains peaceful. A sanctuary of learning. A sanctuary of patience. A sanctuary where every carefully written word becomes a gift to the future. And as you quietly rise from your desk, you leave behind the soft scratching of quills. Carry with you the calm satisfaction that comes from slow, meaningful work done with care. Chapter 7. The Monastery Library. The peaceful work in the scriptorium has come to a gentle pause. Freshly copied pages now rest neatly upon the wooden desks. The ink slowly dries beneath the warm midday light. The soft scratching of quills has faded into silence. You carefully place the manuscript back onto its shelf. With quiet footsteps, you leave the scriptorium behind. The stone corridor outside feels cool and peaceful. Sunlight streams through narrow windows high upon the walls. Its golden rays stretch across the ancient stone floor. The monastery remains wonderfully calm. Some monks continue working in the gardens. Others prepare the midday meal. A few quietly sweep the cloister or tend to visitors. Every task is performed slowly, carefully, with purpose. Today, however, your path leads somewhere special, to one of the monastery's greatest treasures, the library. You walk toward a heavy oak door reinforced with black iron hinges. The wood has darkened with age. Countless hands have opened the same door over the centuries. Slowly you press it open. A gentle creak echoes softly through the hallway. Immediately, a familiar scent welcomes you. Old parchment, leather, polished oak, a faint trace of beeswax from nearby candles. It is the unmistakable fragrance of old books. The library is larger than you expected. Tall wooden shelves stretch from floor to ceiling. Every shelf is filled with carefully arranged manuscripts. Some are wrapped in leather. Others are tied gently with linen cords. Each book represents months, sometimes years, of patient work. The room feels timeless, almost untouched by the passing centuries. Sunlight enters through tall arched windows. The bright afternoon light falls gently across rows of books. Tiny particles of dust float peacefully through the warm beams. They drift so slowly that they seem suspended in time. Everything inside the library encourages stillness, silence, reflection. Several monks sit quietly at small reading tables. Each is absorbed in a different manuscript. One studies ancient philosophy. Another reads religious writings. A third carefully compares two handwritten texts. No one speaks. The only sounds are quiet turning of pages, the soft movement of robes, and occasionally the gentle crackle of a candle flame. You slowly walk between the towering shelves. Each book has its own history, its own journey. Some manuscripts arrived from distant monasteries. Others were copied here by generations of monks. Many are beautifully decorated with colorful illustrations. Golden letters shimmer softly upon aged parchment. Blue pigments remain surprisingly vibrant despite their age. Tiny painted flowers decorate the margins. Birds, leaves, vines. Every page reflects countless hours of careful craftsmanship. You pause beside a large wooden shelf. An elderly librarian monk quietly approaches. His silver hair catches the afternoon sunlight. His gentle smile reveals years of peaceful living. Without speaking, he carefully removes a manuscript from the shelf. His hands move with remarkable care, almost as though he is holding something sacred. He places the book gently upon a reading table. The leather cover is smooth from centuries of use. The pages inside feel delicate, yet remarkably well preserved. You slowly open the manuscript. The parchment feels soft beneath your fingertips. Beautiful handwriting fills every page, each letter perfectly shaped, each line perfectly straight. You cannot help but admire the patience required to create such beauty. Nearby, another monk carefully repairs an older manuscript. Using fine linen thread, he strengthens a worn binding. His movements are slow, steady, almost invisible. The work demands complete concentration. Nothing can be rushed. Every book deserves respect. Every page deserves care. Outside the library windows, a gentle breeze stirs the branches of nearby trees. Their leaves rustle softly. The sound drifts into the room, blending perfectly with the quiet atmosphere. Somewhere beyond the monastery walls, birds continue singing. Their cheerful songs seem distant now, as though they belong to another world. Inside the library, time feels different. Hours pass almost unnoticed. The afternoon sunlight slowly moves across the stone floor. Shadows quietly change their shape. No clock measures the passing minutes. Only the journey of the sun across the sky. You continue exploring the shelves. One section contains books about herbs and healing. Another preserves histories of distant kingdoms. Nearby are beautifully illustrated Bibles copied by monks long ago. There are books of music, books of astronomy, books of mathematics, books that have survived wars, storms, and countless winters. The monastery protected them all, generation after generation. The library is more than a room filled with books. It is a bridge between the past and the future, knowledge carefully carried across centuries by patient hands. A young novice enters quietly. He carries several newly copied manuscripts from the scriptorium, together with the librarian. He carefully places each volume upon its proper shelf. Everything has its place. Everything follows quiet order. The novice pauses for a moment, looking around the vast room. Perhaps he imagines all the people who may one day read these books. Perhaps he wonders how many generations these pages will survive. The thought itself feels peaceful. Outside, the afternoon sun begins its slow descent toward the western hills. Golden light fills the library even more warmly now. The wooden shelves seem to glow. The leather bindings shine softly. The atmosphere becomes even calmer. You find a comfortable chair beside the window. For a few peaceful moments, you simply sit, listening. The turning of pages, the whisper of the breeze, the faint chirping of birds outside, the quiet breathing of the monks around you. There is no urgency, no distraction, only the simple joy of being surrounded by wisdom collected across hundreds of years. Eventually, the monastery bell rings gently in the distance. Its familiar voice echoes across the stone buildings. The afternoon is slowly drawing toward evening. The monks quietly close their books. Candles are carefully extinguished. The librarian returns each manuscript to its proper place. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is forgotten. You slowly rise from your chair, taking one final look across the peaceful library. Rows upon rows of books rest silently upon their shelves, patiently waiting for future generations, patiently preserving the wisdom of the past. As you gently close the heavy oak door behind you, the quiet world of the monastery library remains exactly as you found it, peaceful, timeless, filled with knowledge, and wrapped in a silence so gentle that it feels almost like a prayer itself. Chapter 8. A quiet midday meal. The peaceful silence of the monastery library slowly fades behind you. The heavy oak door closes gently with a soft wooden sound. Once again, you find yourself walking through the cool stone corridors of the monastery. Outside the narrow windows, the afternoon sun shines brightly over the quiet valley. Its warm light stretches across the gardens, the orchard, and the ancient stone walls. The day has reached its peaceful middle. The morning's work is complete. The manuscripts have been copied. The gardens have been carefully tended. The library has returned to its quiet stillness. Now, another familiar part of the monastic day begins. The midday meal, far across the monastery grounds. The bell begins to ring once more. Its deep, gentle voice echoes across the peaceful countryside. One slow note, then another. The sound drifts through the gardens, across the cloister, into every workshop and quiet room. The monks immediately recognize its familiar call. Without haste, they begin making their way toward the refectory. Some arrive from the gardens with traces of earth still upon their hands. Others leave the scriptorium carrying carefully cleaned quills. Several monks emerge quietly from the chapel after private prayer. No one rushes. No one speaks loudly. Each person walks with the same calm rhythm that shapes every hour of monastery life. You follow them through the covered cloister. The stone arches provide cool shade from the warm afternoon sun. The fountain continues flowing quietly at the center of the courtyard. Its gentle music accompanies every step. Nearby, lavender flowers sway softly beneath a light breeze. The scent fills the air. Fresh, clean, comforting. Soon, the large wooden doors of the refectory come into view. A young novice quietly opens them. The monks enter one by one. The dining hall looks peaceful beneath the afternoon sunlight. Long wooden tables stand neatly arranged. Simple clay bowls have already been placed before each seat. Fresh loaves of bread rest inside woven baskets. Steam rises gently from several large pots carried in from the monastery kitchen. The aroma fills the room. Warm vegetable stew. Fresh herbs gathered from the garden. Newly baked bread. The scent is simple, honest, inviting. Everyone quietly takes their place. The room fills slowly, yet even with many people present, the atmosphere remains wonderfully calm. The abbot stands near the front of the hall. He offers a short prayer of gratitude. His voice is gentle, slow, peaceful. When the blessing ends, silence returns once again. The meal begins. A monk carefully ladles warm stew into each wooden bowl. The broth is rich with carrots, onions, beans, and herbs grown only a short walk away in the monastery garden. Everything served today has been prepared with care. Nothing extravagant, nothing wasteful, only food that nourishes both body and spirit. You lift a small piece of warm bread. Its crust feels firm. Its center remains soft. A little steam escapes as you break it apart. The smell of fresh grain rises gently into the air. Nearby, another monk quietly pours cool spring water into clay cups. The water catches the sunlight for a brief moment before becoming still once more. During the meal, one monk stands beside a simple wooden lectern, as tradition requires. He reads aloud from an ancient manuscript. His voice flows slowly through the dining hall. Not loud, not dramatic, only calm, steady, measured. The words drift gently across the room. The monks continue eating quietly while listening. The reading has become part of every meal. It feeds the mind while the food feeds the body. Outside the open windows, the monastery continues its peaceful afternoon. A robin lands upon the stone wall beneath the herb garden. Bees move lazily among blooming flowers. A soft breeze carries the scent of mint and rosemary into the hall. The curtains near the windows sway gently. Sunlight dances across the wooden floor. The entire room seems wrapped in warmth, wrapped in peace. You notice an elderly monk sitting quietly across the table. His movements are slow but graceful. Every bite is taken with gratitude. Every sip of water is appreciated. Years of simple living have taught him something valuable. That happiness rarely comes from abundance. It often comes from enough. Enough food, enough shelter, enough peace. The novice sitting beside him watches carefully, learning not only the traditions of the monastery, but also its quiet wisdom. No one reaches quickly for more food. No one wastes even the smallest crumb. Everything provided has required work. The vegetables were planted. The bread was baked. The herbs were gathered. Every meal represents many quiet hours of shared effort. The monastery teaches gratitude through ordinary things. A bowl of soup, a loaf of bread, a cup of water. Simple gifts become meaningful when received with thankful hearts. Outside, a cloud drifts slowly across the sun. The dining hall becomes slightly dimmer for a few moments. Then the cloud moves on. Golden light fills the room once again. Tiny dust particles sparkle in the sunlight. Everything feels peaceful, timeless. The reading slowly comes to its conclusion. The final sentence echoes softly through the hall. Then silence returns once more. Only the quiet sounds of the meal remain. The gentle movement of wooden spoons. The soft creak of benches. The occasional song of birds drifting through the open windows. Nothing more is needed. The meal gradually comes to an end. The bowls become empty. The bread baskets hold only a few remaining slices. Several younger monks quietly collect the dishes. Others wipe the long wooden tables clean. Everyone helps. No task belongs beneath anyone. Service is shared equally. As the final bowl is carried away, the monks bow their heads briefly in silent gratitude. The afternoon still holds many peaceful hours. There will be more work, more study, more prayer. But for now, there is a quiet feeling of contentment. The body has been nourished. The mind has been calmed. The heart feels at peace. The monks slowly rise from their benches. The sunlight continues pouring through the tall windows. Outside, the monastery gardens shimmer beneath the warm afternoon sky. The fountain still sings its quiet song. The breeze still carries the fragrance of herbs and flowers. With slow and peaceful steps, the monks leave the refectory. Another ordinary meal has come and gone. Another simple moment has quietly become another treasured memory. And beneath the ancient stone walls of the monastery, the peaceful rhythm of the day gently continues. Chapter 9. Walking through the cloister. The quiet midday meal has come to a peaceful end. The wooden bowls have been carefully washed. The long tables once again stand empty. The warm aroma of fresh bread slowly fades from the refectory. Outside, the afternoon sun shines gently across the monastery grounds. The sky is clear. A few white clouds drift lazily above the distant hills. The monks quietly leave the dining hall. Some return to their daily work. Others spend a few peaceful moments walking before the afternoon prayers. You decide to take the same quiet path. Your footsteps carry you toward one of the most beautiful places in the monastery, the cloister. You step beneath the cool stone arches. Immediately, the temperature changes. The warm afternoon sun gives way to pleasant shade. The thick stone walls protect the covered walkway from both heat and wind. The air feels cool, fresh, comfortable. The cloister forms a perfect square around a peaceful inner garden. For centuries, monks have walked these same stone paths, morning after morning, season after season, generation after generation. The smooth stones beneath your feet have been gently worn by countless footsteps. Each one tells a silent story. The columns supporting the roof rise gracefully toward rounded arches. Their pale stone catches the soft afternoon light. Beautiful shadows stretch across the floor, changing slowly as the sun continues its journey across the sky. You begin walking at an unhurried pace. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing demanding your attention, only the simple pleasure of walking. Each step echoes softly beneath the arches. Step, pause, step, pause. The rhythm feels calming, almost like slow breathing. The center of the cloister is filled with a peaceful garden. Green grass grows neatly between winding stone paths. Small flower beds bloom with lavender, roses, and lilies. The fragrance drifts gently through the warm afternoon air. Bees move lazily among the blossoms. Butterflies float gracefully from flower to flower. A small stone fountain stands at the center. Crystal clear water flows quietly into a circular basin. The gentle sound follows you as you walk. Soft, steady, endless. You pause beside one of the arches, looking across the garden. The sunlight sparkles upon the surface of the fountain. Tiny ripples spread outward before disappearing once again. The entire scene feels perfectly balanced, perfectly peaceful. Nearby, an elderly monk sits quietly upon a simple wooden bench. An open book rests upon his lap, yet he is not reading. Instead, he watches the garden, the flowers, the birds, the movement of the clouds overhead. Sometimes wisdom comes not from reading another page, but from quietly observing the world around us. A pair of sparrows lands beside the fountain. They drink from the cool water, splash gently for a few moments, then flutter back into the branches of a nearby apple tree. The tree itself provides welcome shade. Its leaves rustle softly whenever the breeze passes through. The sound is gentle, comforting. The monastery seems alive with quiet sounds. The fountain, the birds, the breeze, the occasional distant ringing of a bell. Nothing louder, nothing more. You continue walking beneath the stone arches. The afternoon light slowly shifts. Golden rays now reach farther into the covered walkway. The colors of the garden become richer. The lavender appears deeper, the roses brighter. The ancient stone walls glow warmly beneath the sun. You notice small carvings decorating several of the columns. Simple patterns, leaves, vines, small crosses, each carved carefully by craftsmen many generations ago. Though centuries have passed, their work remains, patiently enduring the passage of time. Far beyond the monastery walls, you hear the faint sound of sheep grazing in distant fields. The gentle ringing of tiny bells tied around their necks drifts across the valley. The countryside continues its own peaceful rhythm. The monastery and the world beyond exist together in quiet harmony. Another monk quietly joins the cloister walk. He nods gently as he passes. No words are exchanged. None are necessary. Sometimes simple kindness is expressed through nothing more than a smile. The covered walkway seems endless, yet not because it is large, because every corner invites you to slow down, to notice small details. A flower opening toward the sun, a tiny bird gathering twigs, the movement of shadows across ancient stone. These are ordinary moments. Yet within the monastery, ordinary moments become extraordinary simply because they are fully appreciated. The afternoon breeze grows slightly stronger. The branches of the apple trees sway gently. A few leaves drift slowly toward the ground. They spin gracefully through the sunlight before coming to rest upon the grass. Nature itself seems to move more slowly here. Time feels different inside the monastery. Outside, people hurry from one task to another. Inside these walls, each moment is allowed to unfold naturally, without pressure, without urgency. The fountain continues its endless song. Its water has flowed here for generations. The same gentle sound heard by monks hundreds of years ago. The same peaceful melody heard today. It never grows tired, never becomes impatient. It simply flows. Steadily, patiently, you reach the far corner of the cloister. Here, a small wooden bench overlooks the entire garden. You sit quietly. The stone walls surround you like a protective embrace. The air carries the scent of lavender and fresh grass. The afternoon sun begins its slow journey toward the western horizon. The shadows grow a little longer. The light becomes softer, warmer. The monastery feels more peaceful than ever. A distant monastery bell rings once. Its gentle tone echoes softly beneath the arches. The sound lingers for a few moments before fading into silence. Soon the monks will gather once again. The afternoon will slowly become evening. Candles will replace sunlight. Prayers will once again fill the chapel. But for now, there is only this quiet walk, this peaceful garden, this gentle breeze, and this timeless cloister that has offered generations of monks a place to slow their thoughts and find quiet joy in the simplest moments of life. You slowly rise from the bench, taking one final look across the beautiful courtyard. The fountain still flows. The flowers still bloom. The birds still sing. The ancient stone arches remain exactly as they have for centuries. Calm, silent, enduring, with peaceful steps, you continue your walk, leaving the cloister behind, carrying its quiet beauty with you as another gentle chapter of monastery life unfolds. Chapter 10. Evening prayer by candlelight. The peaceful walk through the cloister slowly comes to an end. The afternoon sun has begun its gentle journey toward the western hills. Its golden light grows softer with every passing moment. Long shadows stretch across the monastery courtyard. The flowers in the garden sway gently in the cool evening breeze. The fountain continues its quiet song. Everything seems to slow down. The busiest hours of the day are now behind you. The gardens have been tended. The manuscripts carefully copied. The library has returned to silence. The midday meal has been shared. The monastery now prepares for the final prayers of the day. Far above the rooftops, the monastery bell begins to ring. Its deep voice rolls peacefully across the valley. One slow note, then another. The familiar sound reaches every corner of the monastery, the gardens, the cloister, the workshops, the library. Every monk recognizes a gentle invitation. Without hurry, they quietly begin making their way toward the chapel. You follow the familiar stone pathway. The evening air feels wonderfully cool. A gentle breeze carries the scent of lavender and fresh grass through the courtyard. Birds sing their final songs before nightfall. Some settle quietly among the branches of the old oak trees. Others circle once above the monastery roof before disappearing into the evening sky. The western horizon glows with warm shades of gold, orange, and soft pink. The day is slowly saying goodbye. The chapel doors stand open. Warm candlelight spills gently into the stone corridor. The soft glow feels welcoming, comforting, almost magical. You step inside. Immediately, the outside world seems far away. The thick stone walls surround the chapel with peaceful silence. Rows of candles burn quietly near the altar. Their small flames dance gently in the still air. The warm light reflects from polished wooden benches. Shadows move softly across the ancient stone walls. The stained glass windows no longer shine with sunlight. Instead, they catch the last colors of the setting sky. Deep blue, soft purple, gold and amber. The chapel feels even more peaceful than it did this morning. The monks quietly find their places. No one speaks. The silence itself has become part of the evening. A silence filled not with emptiness, but with calm, with gratitude, with quiet reflection. The abbot walks slowly toward the altar. His footsteps echo gently across the stone floor. Every movement is calm, measured, unhurried. He lights one final candle. Its tiny flame joins the others. Together they fill the chapel with warm golden light. Outside, darkness slowly begins to settle across the countryside. The first evening star appears beyond the chapel windows. The monks bow their heads. The evening prayer begins. The voices rise together, soft, gentle, peaceful. The ancient chants flow slowly through the chapel. Each note echoes beneath the high stone ceiling. The sound feels almost weightless, floating gently through the quiet room. You close your eyes for a moment, listening, only listening, the peaceful chanting, the gentle crackle of candle flames, the quiet breathing of those around you. Nothing else exists. No distractions, no urgency. Only this moment, only this prayer. Outside, a cool breeze brushes gently against the stained glass windows. Leaves rustle softly in the monastery garden. The fountain continues flowing beneath the darkening sky. Nature itself seems to join the evening prayer. The chants continue, slow, steady, almost like waves upon a quiet sea. One voice blends perfectly into another. No one sings louder. No one seeks attention. Each monk simply becomes part of something larger, part of the peaceful rhythm that has filled this monastery for centuries. A young novice kneels quietly near the front. Only months ago, this life felt unfamiliar. Now the evening prayers have become the most comforting part of his day. They mark the gentle ending of every sunset, the peaceful closing of every ordinary day. Nearby, an elderly monk keeps his eyes gently closed. His face carries the calm expression of someone who has repeated these prayers thousands of times. Yet each evening still feels new, still feels meaningful. The candlelight reflects softly upon the ancient stone walls. Tiny flames flicker whenever the breeze slips beneath the heavy wooden door. The room glows warmly against the growing darkness outside. Time seems to disappear. No clocks, no schedules, only the peaceful rhythm of prayer. Outside, the sky becomes deeper shades of blue. The final colors of sunset slowly fade beyond the hills. Stars begin appearing one by one, tiny lights shining above the sleeping countryside. The monastery itself grows quieter. Even the birds have fallen silent now. Only an occasional owl calls softly from the distant forest. Its lonely voice drifts briefly through the evening air. Then silence returns. The final hymn begins. Its melody is gentle, beautiful, simple. The voices rise together one last time, then gradually grow quieter, softer, until the final note disappears into the peaceful silence of the chapel. No one immediately stands. The monks remain seated for several quiet moments, simply breathing, simply resting, allowing the peace of the evening to settle deeply within their hearts. The abbot slowly rises. The others follow, one by one, without words, without hurry. The candles continue burning softly beside the altar. Their gentle light remains behind as the monks quietly leave the chapel. Outside, night has fully arrived. The moon rises slowly above the monastery walls. Silver light touches the gardens, the cloister, the rooftops, the peaceful valley beyond. The evening prayer has ended. The monastery grows wonderfully still. Another beautiful day is gently drawing toward its close. And beneath the quiet glow of candlelight and moonlight, every heart carries a calm comfort that only a life of simplicity, gratitude, and peaceful reflection can bring. Chapter 11. The Peaceful Monastery at Night. The final evening prayer has gently come to an end. The last hymn has faded beneath the high stone ceiling. The warm glow of candlelight still fills the chapel, but the voices have fallen silent. One by one, the monks quietly leave the chapel. The heavy wooden doors close softly behind them. Outside, the monastery has entered the peaceful embrace of night. The moon hangs high above the ancient rooftops. Its silver light washes gently across the stone walls. The monastery gardens shimmer beneath the pale glow. The fountain continues flowing quietly in the center of the cloister. Its gentle song now seems even softer in the stillness of the evening. The air has grown cool. A light breeze moves through the arches of the cloister. It carries the delicate fragrance of lavender, rosemary, and freshly cut grass. Every breath feels fresh. Every breath feels calming. The monks walk silently through the courtyard. Some carry small lanterns. Others simply allow the moonlight to guide their steps. There is no need for conversation. The day has already spoken through prayer, work, and quiet reflection. Now only silence remains. The silence feels peaceful, comfortable, like an old friend, far beyond the monastery walls. The countryside sleeps beneath the stars. The fields rest quietly after a long day beneath the sun. The forests stand motionless in the cool night air. Occasionally, an owl calls from somewhere among the distant trees. Its lonely voice drifts gently across the valley before fading into silence once again. Above, thousands of stars sparkle across the endless sky. Without the lights of modern cities, the heavens appear breathtakingly clear. The Milky Way stretches like a silver ribbon across the darkness. For countless generations, monks have looked upon this very sky. The same stars, the same moon, the same peaceful night. Nothing has changed. Time seems almost to stand still. You slowly walk toward the cloister one final time. The stone floor beneath your feet still holds a little warmth from the afternoon sun. The arches cast long silver shadows beneath the moonlight. The fountain reflects tiny stars upon its gently moving surface. Everything feels wonderfully still. A small cat quietly crosses a courtyard. Its soft footsteps make no sound upon the stone. It pauses near the herb garden, looks toward the moon for a moment, then disappears silently into shadows. The monastery seems full of these tiny, beautiful moments, moments that most people never notice. Yet here, they become part of the quiet rhythm of life. In the distance, one monk carefully closes the heavy wooden doors of the library. Another checks the candles within the chapel before gently extinguishing them one by one. The tiny flames disappear into the darkness. Only the moon now lights the monastery. Its silver glow touches every rooftop, every garden, every pathway. The buildings themselves seem peaceful. The thick stone walls protected generations of monks through storms, winters, and passing centuries. Tonight, they simply stand quietly beneath the stars. Steady, strong, timeless. You wander slowly into the monastery garden. The flowers have closed their petals for the night. The lavender continues releasing its gentle fragrance. Tiny drops of dew begin forming upon the leaves. The cool night air wraps around everything like a soft blanket. Somewhere nearby, water trickles quietly through a narrow stone channel leading from a fountain. Its gentle sound blends perfectly with the whisper of the breeze. The monastery has become a world of soft sounds. Nothing more, nothing less. The breeze, the fountain, the owl, your own slow breathing. The moon climbs a little higher. Its light grows brighter. The shadows become sharper. The old apple trees cast graceful patterns across the garden paths. Their leaves move gently whenever the breeze returns. You stop beside a wooden bench overlooking the courtyard. For a few quiet moments, you simply sit. There is nowhere else to be, nothing left to accomplish. The day has been full. Morning prayers, garden work, the scriptorium, the library, simple meals, evening worship. Every hour has unfolded slowly. Every task has been completed with care. Now the monastery rests. You notice several windows glowing faintly with candlelight. A few monks still spend quiet moments reading before sleep. Others prepare their small rooms for the night. Most have already retired. The monastery grows quieter with every passing minute. Soon even the final candles disappear. Darkness settles gently over the ancient buildings. Yet it is not an empty darkness. It is filled with peace, filled with safety, filled with rest. The stars continue shining overhead. The moon watches silently from above. The old stone monastery stands peacefully beneath the night sky, just as it has for hundreds of years. Tomorrow morning, the bell will ring once again. The monks will wake before dawn. The prayers will begin anew. The gardens will welcome another day. The manuscripts will continue to grow one careful page at a time. But tonight, there is only quiet, only moonlight, only the gentle rhythm of a peaceful monastery sleeping beneath the stars. You rise slowly from the bench, taking one final look across the silent courtyard. The fountain still flows. The flowers still rest. The ancient walls still stand. Everything feels exactly as it should. Calm, peaceful, enduring. With slow, quiet steps, you make your way toward your small room. The monastery settles into complete silence. The night grows deeper, and the peaceful rhythm of this timeless place gently carries every soul toward a restful sleep. Chapter 12. Falling asleep within the monastery walls. The monastery has become completely still. The final candle in the chapel has been gently extinguished. The library rests in darkness. The scriptorium stands quiet, its quills carefully cleaned and placed beside bottles of ink. The gardens sleep beneath the silver light of the moon. The fountain continues its endless song, softer now than ever before. The day's work has come to a peaceful end. Every prayer has been spoken. Every page has been copied. Every flower has been watered. Every meal has been shared. There is nothing more to do. Only rest. Only peace. You walk slowly through a familiar stone corridor. The ancient walls glow softly beneath the moonlight streaming through narrow windows. Your footsteps echo gently. Step, pause. Step, pause. The sound is quiet, almost comforting. The monastery seems to breathe with you. Outside, the night sky stretches endlessly above the peaceful valley. Thousands of stars shimmer, like tiny lanterns scattered across the heavens. The moon hangs high above the monastery bell tower. Its gentle light touches every rooftop, every stone path, every tree in the orchard. Everything appears calm beneath its silver glow. You arrive at your small room. The wooden door opens with a soft creak. Inside, the room is exactly as you left it this morning. A simple wooden bed, a straw mattress, a folded wool blanket, a small wooden stool, a tiny shelf holding one well-worn book, a wooden cross upon the stone wall. Nothing more, nothing less. The room is modest, yet feels warm, safe, peaceful. A small candle burns beside the bed. Its golden flame flickers quietly. The light dances across the stone walls. Tiny shadows move gently with every breath of air entering through the open window. Outside, the breeze carries the fragrance of lavender from a monastery garden. You can still hear the gentle trickle of the fountain somewhere beyond the cloister. Its quiet melody has accompanied the entire day. Now it accompanies the night as well. You sit upon the edge of the bed. The room feels wonderfully still. You remove your simple sandals. Fold your robe neatly beside the chair. Every movement is slow, mindful, unhurried. There is no reason to rush toward sleep. Sleep arrives naturally when the day has been lived peacefully. You look once more through the small window. The moonlight fills the courtyard. The cloister arches cast long, graceful shadows upon the stone floor. The herb garden rests quietly. The apple trees barely move in the cool night breeze. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls softly from the forest. Its voice echoes across the sleeping valley, then fades gently into silence. The monastery has become a sanctuary of quiet. Every monk now rests within his own small room. The elderly gardener who cared for the flowers, the librarian who protected ancient books, the young novice who copied his first careful pages, the cook who baked the morning bread, the abbot whose calm voice guided every prayer. Each now sleeps beneath the same roof, beneath the same stars, wrapped in the same peaceful silence. You lie down upon the simple bed. The straw mattress is firm but comfortable. The wool blanket feels warm against the cool evening air. You pull it gently over yourself. The candle beside the bed burns lower. Its flame grows smaller, softer. The room slowly becomes darker. Outside, clouds drift quietly across the moon. For a few moments, the courtyard is covered in gentle shadow. Then the moon appears once again. Silver light fills the room through the narrow window. The monastery bell remains silent now. It has finished its work for today. Tomorrow, before dawn, it will once again call everyone to prayer. But tonight, it rests just as the monks rest, just as the gardens rest, just as the valley rests beneath the stars. You close your eyes. Your breathing becomes slower, gentler. The memories of the day pass quietly through your mind. The peaceful bell before sunrise, the silent morning prayer, the simple breakfast, the warm garden beneath the morning sun, the careful copying of ancient manuscripts, the quiet library filled with wisdom, the peaceful midday meal, the shaded cloister, the evening prayer by candlelight, the moonlit monastery. Each memory drifts gently past like clouds moving across the night sky. None demand your attention. They simply pass, one after another, until only stillness remains. The breeze continues whispering outside. The fountain continues flowing. Leaves rustle softly in the orchard. Somewhere, a night bird sings one final time before silence returns. The ancient monastery has stood here for centuries, through changing seasons, through gentle springs, golden summers, colorful autumns, snow-covered winters. It has welcomed countless monks seeking peace, countless travelers seeking shelter, countless quiet mornings and peaceful nights. Tonight, it welcomes your rest as well. The stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. The moon slowly climbs higher above the bell tower. The stone walls remain strong, steady, protective. The peaceful rhythm of monastery life continues even in sleep. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is forgotten. Everything unfolds exactly as it should. Your thoughts grow lighter. Your body feels wonderfully relaxed. The quiet sounds of the monastery become more distant. The fountain, the breeze, the rustling leaves, the singing owl, they slowly blend together into one gentle lullaby. The candle beside your bed flickers one final time. Its tiny flame quietly disappears. Only moonlight remains. Soft, cool, peaceful, you drift slowly toward sleep, safe within the ancient stone walls, wrapped in silence, surrounded by simplicity, held gently by the peaceful rhythm of the monastery. And as the stars shine silently above the sleeping valley, another beautiful day in the quiet life of a medieval monk comes to its gentle and timeless end. May your heart be peaceful. May your mind be still. May your dreams be as quiet as the monastery beneath the moonlit sky. Good night, sleep well, and until our next journey through history, rest peacefully.